Hey everyone, I'm in Florence. We had the Y Project show last night, which was an incredible show actually. So, as per usual, I just wanted to get Nick online to kind of discuss and dissect and really just, get a feeling for this show. Nick's in Hong Kong, so it's been really hard to try and find a time. We're finally both awake at the same time. So we're just going to wait for him to come online and for him to connect. Then we're going to go through it. Dun, dun, dun. It says it's connecting now. Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, I mean, there was such, there was such a kind of amazing performance aspect or kind of audience participation, which normally I don't like audience participation. I get really nervous, but this wasn't kind of interacting with the models. It was kind of assisting the show, I guess. So let's just text on. But it was really, really incredibly thought out, and also a risk what Glenn did last night. So definitely worth kind of discussing and describing if it ever connects. Oh, so that's not working. Let's accept Nick again and see if it works this time. Hello.
Hey, Cal.
Where are you in the world?
I'm in Hong Kong. But can you see a picture?
Yes.
Good. Okay, you just can't see a picture of me.
No, you're out of the frame.
I'm out of the frame. This is Hong Kong. Look at it. Lovely.
That is very lovely.
Yes. Do you see me now?
Yes, you're there. Looking very dapper.
Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're all fine. It's really cold out here in Florence, but it's actually quite sunny today. And Pity is always quite nice because it's compared to everything else. It's a very relaxed schedule. It's kind of 3 things a day, and then you go and see all the booths and the trade show that in kind of the big Pity area, and you go and see lots of brands. So it's actually very relaxed, and you're contained in pretty much one space, which is lovely. Nice. But I want to crack on and talk about Y Project just because it was such an exciting show.
Okay, well, before you crack on, I know you're desperate to talk about Y Project. I should just explain a little bit where I am. I should also say that I actually can't see the image that I'm transmitting due to some weird glitch in international live broadcasting. But I'm taking it from you that you can see me.
Yes, we can see it, and I'll let you know if we can't.
Okay, well, I'm in Hong Kong for a really exciting photography show called Beyond Fashion, which is being shown in Hong Kong at the moment, which SHOWstudio are a significant part of. It's a very exciting show all about how fashion is liberated now on the internet, now that magazines are no longer the main source of fashion imagery. So it's a very exciting show, a very important show. And I'm here for 6 days promoting the show and doing interviews and that sort of thing, and staying at the Upper House Hotel. So all in all, quite exciting. And as you can tell from Hong Kong, here it is again in the background. It's such a sort of incredibly vibrant city to be in, really sort of a very modern and future-looking city. It's probably the opposite from where you are.
Well, no, I'm in
in Florence.
Yes, which I mean, obviously, when designers get invited to Florence, they use it as a constant source of inspiration. But I'll kind of get there later. But yeah, so when we all arrived, well, let me just grab it. I've got some props. When we all arrived, these were all waiting for us. The classic Y Project invites, which always has a photo of the location of the show. Right. But I'll try and go through this quickly because anyone who wants information on this kind of stuff, Georgie spoke about it last night. So it was at the Basilica di Santa Maria, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous kind of cathedral. And as we walked in, it was dark. We got given flashlights. Don't know, i.e. this one, and also hand warmers that were branded, which was very sweet. So we got given those, and there was it was a huge amount of people, probably 800 people in our area. And we were all told to kind of walk around this amazing church, and discover it. So there was 800 people with tiny little spotlights spotlighting these beautiful Renaissance paintings, just the corner of were getting a flash of gold, and you couldn't see how big this was, but you could kind of hear it in echoes or little light bouncing around. But you were only getting little concentrations, but 800 of them, and it was such a beautiful, weird way to be in kind of a, you know, internationally renowned place of architecture. But with all the lights off, we couldn't see. But that was really, it was really fun. And I mean, we were only in there for so long because the show was late, but it was fine. It was a really nice way to wait for the show. But yeah, so that was kind of the beginning. And then we went and sat down in these huge cloisters and, you know, saw lots of people were chatting. And then we went and sat down and took our seats. And then more people started coming in a different entrance, and more people and more people. And this went on for about half an hour, a constant flow of people who were standing behind us. And turns out Glenn Martens had actually, the creative director of Y Project, had actually opened the doors of the show to as many people as possible in Florence. So all of the art schools were invited, every single person at the local art schools, different people from different walks of life around here to do with the arts, all the museums, and all of that were all invited. And they were also all given torches when they came in. So I don't know where I got this number from, but we had a meeting with Glenn in the morning, and I think he was saying it's around 3,000 people who saw the show last night.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Compared to 300 which normally see a show.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible. And then there was this kind of gong going off every 2 minutes for the whole time that we were in, whilst we were exploring the church, and also whilst we were sitting down. And obviously, not obviously, but because there was going to be no light signal, normally at a show, lights go up so everyone knows to shut up, basically, and stop talking. But instead of that, because that wasn't a possibility in this show, the gong started getting shorter and shorter between, until it was just a constant. It was replaying every eighth of a beat, so it was just like the sound, this constant sound to signify the start of the show, which is quite jarring and quite scary. It's like an alarm, basically. It's like a kind of horrible alarm. And then the first look came out, and it was quite obvious that to see the look, you needed to shine your torch on it, because there was no light. It's dark. It was 7 o'clock in Florence. But for everyone to see the look, everyone had to shine the light. So it didn't matter whether you were front row or back row or standing, or if you were from the press or if you were from Florence. For you to see the show, you needed to work together, which is something Glenn had said he really wanted to do and had wanted to do for a while, which is a really beautiful sentiment, I think, in a fashion show, which normally say, I'm first row, you're second row, you're standing. That actually, it doesn't matter where you are, because unless you all work together, none of you are seeing this, and you have to work together, which I think is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the premise of the show. I mean, Glenn had designed this collection before he knew he was coming to Florence. So the clothes actually didn't particularly speak to that idea of Florence. I mean, they did not, but they hadn't been created around the idea that they had to be shown in Florence. They were supposed to be shown in Paris. Originally. So it was really the show that was supposed to kind of articulate that specialness of being in Florence. He was saying that, you know, normally in the fashion, if you're doing a Paris Fashion Week show or Milan or a London, you have to get your message points succinctly, across succinctly, and then let everyone get out. Where he was really excited to be in Pitti so that he could have an hour of people's time to explore this cathedral, to play around with light, to have all of this stuff, which I think is super, you know, again, must be so nice as a designer to actually have that time to really show your craft to people and show your art in the bigger world. Because he was saying normally he has to have the catwalk on time, and it has to be 15 minutes, and then everyone has to go, is what he gets told. So that's kind of the background and what he was saying. But when it came to the actual clothes, they were, you know, the way that I see Y Project is really as a kind of ongoing conversation instead of separate seasons. You know, I've said this before, that I really think Y Project is this kind of, that Glenn's constantly working. Glenn and his team, there's about 25 people, I believe now. Glenn and his team are constantly working on clothes and ideas and forms and techniques. And then every 6 months they get told that wherever they've got to in their research, they have to put it on the runway. Because it always feels like every season runs on from the last in terms of technique and changes and all of that. But it never feels like Glenn's presenting a collection saying, this is what I think's cool for this season. He goes, this is, or as I say it, this is where I've got to in my research. Here's an update. And here's what I think's beautiful from where I've found, which is quite a lovely way of making clothes, I believe. And I think it's quite an admirable way, instead of every 6 months saying, no, this is the new thing, this is, you know, toile or you know, whatever fabric or kind of construction you see around. It's just always, it seems to be this constant kind of ongoing conversation, which is actually quite rare, which I would have thought it wouldn't be that rare. But there were lots of really beautiful techniques. So lots of knitwear in this collection that was slashed, so it would show kind of a really bright red or a dark blue when it moved, which is actually something we saw as well in Stefan Cook. They looked very different, but that idea of this kind of as the body moves, it shows off different parts of these things is actually really beautiful, because again, it's all about seeing stuff in movement compared to seeing it in still. There were also really beautiful these furs. Wait, let me see. I'm on the gimbal, so you have to give me a moment. But just to kind of express what I was saying about the collections running on from each other, if you see this look from 2 seasons ago, or from last season, oh, sorry, gimbal, so this was shown last summer, and it's a classic coat overlaid in a kind of elastic thing, whereas this, shown in Pity last night, is that same idea of covering it in a fabric, but with fur.
Right.
So visually very different, but actually the same basis principle, but seeing how that works in different fabrics and playing with that idea and adding things, I think is really interesting, because it keeps you as part of the conversation. You're never you're never out of the know in a wide project, if that makes sense, because you've seen all of the collections before, so that's the reference for the next one.
Excellent. Well, that's all sounds super interesting. And what are you standout pieces you really loved?
Yes, I mean, all of the knitwear was super stunning, especially the ripped one. I'm trying to find a photo of it now. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh. So you can see here, it's got all these rips in it.
Right.
Which I think was really, really gorgeous. Ooh. But one thing that was kind of mentioned was this idea of hyperculturia, or I think that's what it's a theory that was never proved, but this idea that a philosopher, I don't know, I've only heard very briefly about it last night, so forgive me if I get anything wrong, believed that when you went to Florence and saw all the Renaissance paintings of kind of as a tourist, you would suddenly realize how small you were in the world and how huge the world was and all of that. And it would cause this syndrome called hyperculturia, I think is what its name was, or something like that. So apparently Glenn was interested in that. As I say, it didn't inspire the collection, because the collection was already made or was already on its way. But it was something that Glenn really wanted to look at, especially by using that location and using all of that. But it was really stunning, especially they were really trying to grow on the menswear, and they brought in their own shoes and bags that were going to work really well. And it was also a very commercial collection, because Glenn was saying these clothes can be worn, and you have 5 different people wearing the same coat, but it's all gonna look like a different coat, because there's so many options of how to wear this and how to wear every piece. And that's how he's really excited. And he said, I never want to dress a character, you know, I'm not here to dress characters. There's not kind of one person who wears my clothes. There's all these different people, and I want to show that on the runway. That's what I kind of want to. That's what I want to do. I'm not saying this is my woman or this is my man, but it's quite, you know, it's like, you know, there's the Dior woman or the Versace woman or, you know, the Dior man. He's saying that's not that. That doesn't work for me. That's not how I see my clothes. They're kind of this conversation, but it's really lovely, and it was the first time that I've heard him speak in person. Yesterday, and it was really, he's very lovely. He comes across as very, very lovely and very open to conversation about his clothes, which come which I wasn't surprised at because I'd seen some of his collections before, and you feel the designer's kind of attitude, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So all in all, a lovely show, great reason to be in Florence, and
excellent.
Yeah, congratulations, congratulations, Glenn.
I saw it on SHOWstudio. It looks really beautiful.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't come across the idea of all those people lighting it with their torches. So it's a very beautiful idea.
Yeah. And if anyone wants any more information on it, we have the live panel at 11 a.m. UK time with really great panel.
How long from now?
Anyway, I'm gonna let you go because I know we're on massive different time zones, so I've got to get up for my day, and you've got to kind of wind down from yours. But I'll speak to you later. I'll speak to you in Paris. Is the next time we're going to speak.
I'll probably be back from Hong Kong by then, and we can talk about all manner of things then. But,
yes, exactly.
I'll give you a little panorama of the view that we have here. As you can see how amazing Hong Kong looks. If ever there was a moment to feel that you are just one small person in a very large world, it's being in Hong Kong.
All right, well, I'm going to let you enjoy being a small person in a big city.
Thank you.
All right, I'll see you later.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.